If you can translate what he said, I'll give your mother my job. Ricardo Montero laughed loudly as he pointed at Carmen, who stood quietly serving coffee in the luxurious meeting room of the Thompson mansion. Chinese businessman Mr. Cheney had just spoken for 5 straight minutes in Mandarin, his gestures growing more frustrated with every passing second, yet no one in the room understood a single word. The elegant conference room overlooked the famous Beverly Hills Gardens, but despite the beauty, the atmosphere was tense. William Thompson, a powerful real estate mogul, wiped sweat from his forehead as he felt his biggest international deal slipping through his hands. Their interpreter had cancelled at the last minute, leaving them helpless in front of a billionaire client. Carmen Silva, 48 years old, the mansion's maid for 7 years, lowered her eyes and continued serving coffee. She was used to being invisible. But outside the door, her daughter Letitia stood in the hallway, listening. The 22-year-old had arrived early from college, and once again, she was witnessing her mother being mocked like entertainment. Ricardo, the arrogant vice president of Thompson Enterprises, loved humiliating people. It was his specialty. "Come on, Carmen," he smirked. "I bet you understand everything Mr. Cheney said. I'm sure you learned Chinese while washing dishes, right?" Laughter filled the room. Even William chuckled nervously, trying to relieve the tension that was costing him millions. But Cheney didn't laugh. His eyes grew colder. This was beyond unprofessional. This was disrespectful. Carmen stayed calm. Decades of domestic work had taught her one painful lesson: reacting only makes things worse. "I'm sorry, Mr. Ricardo," she said softly. "I don't understand any of it." "Of course you don't." He slammed his hand on the table, amused. "Tell you what, if your maid can translate what our Chinese friend said, I'll give her my job. Right here. Right now." The room exploded with laughter. A black maid replacing a Harvard-educated executive? To them, it was the funniest thing they had heard all week. Outside, Letitia clenched her fists. But her face was calm, dangerously calm. Because Ricardo had no idea who he was dealing with. Letitia, Carmen's daughter, had spent the past 4 years studying international relations with a specialization in the Asian market. And she had been speaking Mandarin for 7 years. She had made a promise to herself. "One day, I will change my mother's life." And today was that day. So while everyone laughed, Letitia took a deep breath, adjusted her backpack, and stepped toward the door. Everything was about to change. Letitia stepped into the room. Silence snapped through the air like thunder. Every executive turned. Carmen froze, eyes wide. Letitia walked forward with calm confidence. No fear. No hesitation. No apology. In perfect Mandarin, she looked directly at Mr. Cheney and said, "Excuse me, sir. Would you like me to translate what you just said?" The reaction was instant. The entire room went still. Ricardo, the arrogant VP, blinked in confusion. Then he laughed, trying to recover his ego. "Oh, please. You think saying "ni how" makes you bilingual?" But Mr. Cheney sat up straighter. His expression changed. He responded in Mandarin. Letitia replied, "Fluently. Not just basic conversation. Business-level Mandarin. High-level negotiation terms. Professional tone." The executives looked lost. They couldn't understand a word. But they understood one thing. She was the real deal. Carmen watched with tears in her eyes. Her daughter, the one they ignored. The one they underestimated. The one she raised while scrubbing floors, was now the most powerful person in the room. After a full conversation, Cheney smiled for the first time all day. He turned to William, the CEO. In English, calm and clear, he said. "Why is she not leading this meeting?" William looked shocked. She's not on the team. Letitia stepped in politely. "I'm Carmen's daughter. I study international relations with a focus on Asian markets. Fluent in Mandarin, Cantonese, and Korean. I've translated at international events before. I came to pick up my mom." The room erupted. Executives whispered in disbelief. Ricardo's face turned pale. Letitia continued speaking to Cheney, effortlessly translating complex terms, cultural nuances, and contract language. Within 10 minutes, the deal was back on track. Cheney leaned back, impressed. "You have earned my respect. If your company makes her the lead on this partnership, I will sign today. Dead silence. Everyone slowly turned toward Letitia. And then, the CEO stood up, looked at her mother, looked at her, and said, "Miss Silver, would you like to join our executive team?" Gasps filled the room. Ricardo's jaw dropped. Letitia didn't smile. Not yet. She turned to her mother, her voice soft. "Mama, do you want this?" Carmen, holding back tears, nodded. "Yes, Mija, take it." Letitia faced the CEO. "I accept. But one condition." The room leaned in. "My mother is done serving coffee. From now on, she sits at the table." Boom. The room exploded. Mr. Cheney clapped his hands with joy. "Now this," he said, "is a company I can trust." Ricardo sank into his chair, humiliated. Letitia lifted her chin. A maid's daughter just became the most important person in the room. And her mother? No longer invisible. The meeting ended with champagne and handshakes. The billion-dollar deal was saved. Because of a maid's daughter. But the real moment came the next morning. A headline exploded across the news. Maid's daughter saves international deal. Executive exposed for disrespect. The story went viral. Interviews, articles, TV. Everyone was talking about Carmen and Letitia. From cleaning the room to running it. That became the quote of the week. William Thompson, the CEO, called a full company meeting. Every employee was there, even the board. At the front of the room, 2 chairs. One for Letitia, one for Carmen. When they walked in, the entire company stood up and applauded. Carmen froze. She had never been applauded in her life. Tears streamed down her face. Letitia sat with confidence, now officially the Director of International Relations. Carmen sat beside her, as a respected staff advisor. Then the CEO spoke. "Yesterday, one of our executives disrespected this woman, the heart of our company. Her daughter showed us real leadership, intelligence, and dignity. Today, we correct a mistake." He turned to security. "Ricardo Montero, you're fired." Gasps. Silence. Then, applause. Ricardo's face turned red as he was escorted out in front of everyone. The man who mocked a maid was replaced by her daughter. The CEO looked at Carmen. "From today forward, no one in this company is judged by title, but by character." The room erupted in applause again. Carmen cried silently. Letitia held her hand. And then, the most powerful moment of all. Carmen stood up, faced the crowd, and said, voice trembling but strong, "4 years, I entered through the back door. Thank you, for finally opening the front one." The entire room went silent. Then, standing ovation. People crying. People cheering. It wasn't just a promotion. It was a revolution in respect. From maid to mentor. From ignored to honored. From serving coffee to making history.